Good afternoon, everyone. September 9th, 2025, Carver County Library Advisory Board call to order. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the agenda for today? If so, do I have a motion to approve?
I do have a question about the agenda, and it relates to several pages of the materials that were sent to us this time. What is the agenda item related to pages 5 and 6 of the batch that we were sent? These are the two pages where it says issue method of service, customer type, family, and then something on the reverse side. I didn't see anything on the agenda that looked related to that.
Law library, actually. Yeah.
It's going to be something
Serena's going to
Okay.
report on. Yep.
Okay, so it's tied in with her presentation. Very good. All right, thank you.
You bet.
Excellent. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
And a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, cool. Next item, approval of the meeting minutes from August 12th. Are there any questions on the minutes or any concerns, any updates that need to be made? If there are no updates or questions, is there a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
So moved?
Thank you. A second? Hey, Charles.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Sorry.
Don't do that. Okay, public input. Do we have anyone here for public input? Jim? Anything? No? Okay. City Administrator Matt is not here quite yet.
No, I'm right here.
No, he's
Oh, you are? Oh my God, I'm so
He just
sorry.
snuck in so
I just kind of
missed
glanced past you. I'm so sorry.
him. We were
Hi,
just in a
Matt.
meeting.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you are.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. No problems. So I'm assuming you want to hear an update on sort of where our building program is and library. So what I did is I'll hand this around. I made some copies of it. Maybe we'll pass half one way and half the other. So the city of Chaska has a building program that we're undergoing right now. It was really sort of a 4-year funding plan that we developed and started putting in place actually 3 years ago. And our last year of funding the building program is going to be this upcoming year in 2026. And as part of the building improvement program, we sort of identified the major buildings that we need to address as part of our building program. And so you'll see our public safety facility was our number one priority. That's nearly completed. That's up where the fire station used to be. We're about ready to start on our municipal service building. We'll be going out to bid for that in February and start construction on that coming up next summer. And then our third priority is library. And one of the reasons City Hall is last is because one of the things we're really short of in City Hall is space. And so it was always a plan. So our City Hall's been around since 1987. And even at that time, it was being talked about at some point in time that we'd find another location for the library, and then City Hall operations would move into that library space. It was actually supposed to happen back in 2000, but it's like 25 years later. But we are at a point where we've outgrown our space in City Hall, and really our library facility is just not really at the what we feel needs to be the size to really serve our community. And it's not from a circulation perspective, because there's all kinds of ways people can get books and whatever they're checking out, as you guys know. It's really getting into that programming that the library does such a good job of. We just don't have the space to do that type of stuff in Chaska. I always sort of joke that I can think of plenty of times over the last 25 years I've been here where there's been like clowns doing shows in the council chambers, and it wasn't a city council meeting. But that we've had to really sort of look at how we utilize space to be able to allow some of that programming to occur. But it's, given the size of our community, we've always sort of used as a guideline that we'd have a square foot per person in the community. So we're going to be about 36,000 people when we're fully said and done. So we're planning around a library that's about 35 to 36,000 square feet in space. We have, so I mentioned the funding. We nearly have the funding side of it complete to be able to support all the buildings. We have started some acquisition of property. We're going to plan on building this library basically right across the street from where the library is now. So there's Pine Street where the License Center is. We would basically build it adjacent to the License Center and then sort of wrapped around the block. One of the great things with that site is it also ties into the regional bike trail as well. So I think there's a real opportunity to look at, how do we use the library as being sort of a trailhead facility for that, a place where people have a place to get water, use the restroom, can use the library facility. It's connected to all of our trail systems throughout the town, so they all come down to that location. So, and we also really want it to be in downtown. We've made significant investments as a community into places in downtown to really make sure that we continue to bring as many people into downtown as possible. And you tell us every year how many people you bring in, but it's amazing. It's like 500,000 people. I mean, it's nuts how many people come into the library. And if they're coming down to go to the library, they're probably coming down and doing more than just the library. So that's where we really see this being a benefit for downtown. On the second page, I put a calendar of sort of our program and what to expect in each year. And so, again, it starts with our public safety facility, goes into our MSB. You can see next year, 2026, we're going to be constructing our municipal service building. When we get into 2027, so this will be right at the beginning of 2027, so about 16 months from now. We'll be going out and doing an RFP for an architect for a library facility. I was here when we did the addition onto the existing library, and I remember vividly that we had two separate architects, one for the building and one for the interior, which was, I thought, a disaster. And so my hope is that we can sort of work together to get an architect on board that would be able to serve the county's needs for what you need for operations, but then also the city's needs for actually building the facility itself. So we'd go through the design and then the entitlement process, go through the planning process with the city in 2027, and just like the other buildings, we plan on being done with that design and entitlement process by the December of 2027. Go out for bid in January of 2028, and then actually start construction then in May of 2028. Best guess for this type of building is probably about 16 to 18 months for construction of the facility. So we would expect that sometime in late 2029 is probably when we'd see that actual facility open up, and then we would come in to City Hall afterwards then and do the renovation in City Hall. So it's real for us. I mean, it's like I said, we have the dollars to be able to support moving forward and getting this completed. I think, one thing, as we get, further along here, we're definitely going to want to talk about, programming and what type of things that we're going to, want to make sure that we're accommodating within the facility. But we just look forward to starting it. This is a high priority for the city council to get done, and we've really knocked a lot of those barriers out of the way so far. So that's an update. I'm certainly willing to answer any questions people might have.
How much is the current, and this is as much, I see Kevin left, because this is as much a question for Kevin as for you, sir.
Yeah.
To what extent is the current library undersized relative to community demand? You have a few-
So we're about 8,000 square foot now?
8,480
Yeah.
square foot, so significantantly undersized.
I mean,
In
we're
fact,
almost 30,000 square foot smaller than we should be.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Norwood Young
Yeah.
America, which is a little teeny tiny way over,
Yeah.
is larger than our
Yeah.
current Chaska library. Because I asked for these numbers and I just got them today.
Yeah.
I
Well,
got 'em.
Chanhassen built their library back in 2002. And at that time, they built that for their
Forever.
full capacity. So they built a 36,000 square foot facility, because the size of their community is
32,000.
gonna be very similar to what ours will be. Our only caveat is that ours has to be 1 square foot bigger than theirs.
That's matter.
No, but we are significantly undersized,
Yes.
Sure.
yeah.
And we are starting to have conversations. We have that meeting on the 23rd, and it's a conversation that I did want to bring up to the library board too about. That means adding more staff, and that means adding more funding. So that's something that we're working on, that we need to kind of work in tandem with and figure out how all that will get paid for.
So,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
As someone who uses the Chaska Library, especially my wife, who
Yeah.
really uses it, we don't seem to be counted in that.
Oh, Carver?
You
I
mean as
wish,
far as size of facility?
Right.
I wish Kevin were here, because we had that conversation about, and you and I have had that conversation, Matt, about how Carver, we kind of see them as part of this library as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point.
It is.
About, size of the facility, and obviously, Carver someday is gonna be, quite a bit larger than Chaska will be. I mean, it's gonna be 40,000 people, and we're gonna be, 36,000 people. So, I think it's gonna be, I think for Carver, it's gonna be a question of, does Carver put their resources into this facility and make this larger, and we look at it as a shared facility between communities, or does Carver wait till population increases more and say we want to do our own?
But the problem with that is, from the county standpoint, the problem with the current model is the city builds it, and then the county has to pay for everything inside and all of the staffing and all the resources, so forevermore. And that's becoming an unsustainable model for us. So we really need to, what Jody and I have talked about is, what is our 30-year library long-term plan? And really start thinking about that as well. And maybe it does impact Chaska right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we would necessarily be opposed to saying that the library is larger to be able to
If the land
accommodate.
will, yeah.
Well, I think we could even accommodate more space. I think the bigger question ends up being the equity of funding.
Correct.
To make sure that, if the city of Chaska is paying for a square foot per person, that if we were to go above that to serve another community, that they're contributing towards that as well.
Right now, the county's strategy is community gets a library.
Well, I don't know if that's actually our strategy.
Well,
I think it's
libraries-
up to the city to decide how they want to do that.
but all the libraries are basically community, city-oriented.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's how that is.
That's one question, is that a strategy that we should carry into the future?
That's a good question.
Or should we rethink how we match libraries to population?
I mean, I can tell you that in other counties, it is done differently, where the county actually picks up both the building and the operations. One of the reasons, even though it's expensive for them to do the building, one of the reasons that I think they do that is then they can control where it goes. So, they might say, yeah, Chaska, we, know you want something downtown, but that's not serving our population right. We're gonna build a library, but it's gonna be here. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely been that in the past that, you look at Watertown, Waconia, Chaska, Chanhassen, Norwood Young America, all have put their own dollars into building those, and then it's been just sort of the expectation that the operations would be picked up by the county, but it probably is a good long-term discussion of whether that's sustainable.
And that's a conversation that we need to start to have, because that is becoming an unsustainable model for the county. However, there's some other opportunities for the county to have our library facilities in communities if we can piggyback some of our other community services as well. So that's something that we're going to start talking about.
In fact, I think there's an ordinance today that says we can't build a library in Carver.
Oh,
I think there is something about 5 miles,
Yeah,
within 5
that's
miles.
currently what's in the policy.
yeah.
Mhm.
But agreed. This is a conversation that we've started to have. I've been doing this for a good 8 months now, but we started having these because of the Chaska Library and because of the cost that's going to add to the county. And the reality is, we need, Chaska has had this library in the plans for years, decades. So to move that somewhere else would be a takeaway for Chaska, and that's not fair to them. However, we do need to start looking at, and that was one thing that actually I was going to bring up on my 6.1, is start to think about what is our long-term model and what is this board, how can this board have an input into that. But we're getting off subject, because the really exciting part is that this is finally coming to fruition.
Yep.
And the partnership, I'm really looking forward to the partnership between the county and the city in building this facility and building a structure that meets the needs of our community. And library services and perhaps some other community services as well.
My question was,
Yeah.
right now, the Chaska Library also houses the county, the Chaska Library houses the county administration.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
Your
yep.
office there.
Mhm.
So when you are looking into the new Chaska facility, you said 36,000 square foot.
Yeah, so we'd be looking at 36,000 square foot for the library, and then having the discussion with these guys of do we want to also include administration? Because, we've heard pretty loud and clear from these guys that, they don't want a 2-story library. That's really hard to staff. But if there's administration that's put there, that's definitely something that could be added to that site.
Yeah, that's all I want to ask, so you don't penalize 36,000 with using it for administration.
Yep.
And so, then you lose out on the 36,000, or, thereabout.
Yeah, because you guys take probably about 4,000 square foot of space right now for your administration. At least
Yeah.
half of that library space down below. So.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. And
So this
In some regards, we could
8,400
use more
includes,
space up there
Yeah.
too with the work that gets done, but,
yeah.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So this 8,400 includes?
No,
No, okay.
no, there's an
That's just the
additional
library.
4,000 that's above.
Yep,
the-
I've been there,
the library
yeah.
there.
Because I was like, wow. Okay, thank you for that. That's,
And of course, we have our friends of the Chaska Library who ask not to be in the basement
Yeah.
anymore too,
Yeah.
Aw.
We were gonna tell you you could have the entire basement, we're gonna clear it all out.
How big is that basement, Jim?
I don't know how big it is.
Well,
but
it's
pretty
gotta at least be 8,000 square foot, if
Yeah, I
not
would
more,
guess.
yeah,
Yeah,
no.
so,
big. And it gets emptied out partially every few months when we have a sale.
Mhm.
well, there you go. Do you have any questions of us, Matt?
I don't think so, I mean, yeah, it's, I think when we get to the design process, it's, when we've done public safety and municipal service building, that's sort of our internal services, so there's a little bit different of a design process. I do think when we go through the design process for this, we're probably gonna wanna build in some more time, which maybe means that we maybe start maybe in 2026 with actual design so that we can get some real community engagement involved in the design of it to really understand what type of space that people want to see, what they will use. I mean, we've talked about, and we talk about this in our community center too, but creating maker space so that there's places where you can have a pottery class or, or art classes, I think we're just gonna wanna really spend some time sort of defining exactly what it is that the community wants out of a library. And also think about how we want it to relate to downtown, how we want it to relate to the trail that's downtown, how we want it to relate to the rest of the downtown commercial district. Yeah, I know when we talked about a concept of that building in the past, we talked about, one of the things that obviously we lack in the winter in Minnesota is light. And, could you create out on the corner of Pine Street and 4th Street an atrium entrance that could almost be sort of that glass outdoor space that's indoors in the winter time to just give people places to be able to be there a little bit more pleasant and things. So I think we're definitely going to want to spend time getting the community input on that.
100%. And Jody and I want a rooftop garden, just so you know.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
If we can make that work. But yeah, I mean, it is exciting, and I do I'm spending my time now going to libraries and looking at all those other options. But in addition to it being part of downtown Chaska, which is really exciting, we also want to make it so that every library sort of has its own look and feel, and kind of has a different. It serves a different purpose, and we'd like it to be unique as well, so that it's not just like Chanhassen, or,
Yep.
has a different.
It won't be. It's going to be a square foot bigger.
Well, oh, you are too funny. But so that it will serve. Not that we want people to come from Chan or other places, but so maybe it's more children focused than some of the other libraries or whatever. I don't know what that looks like, but so it fits into our, again, this long-term library plan that we think about as well.
And I think some of that'll definitely surface, as you spoke to, that, and important to listen to the community to see what
100%.
makes sense moving forward.
And
too,
Kevin,
so.
I don't know where he went, but he has already been gathering. What?
He's security.
Is he? He's been gathering information as well. And
Yeah,
has
we're
some good
actually
stuff.
meeting, the mayor and I are meeting with him. It's either tomorrow or next Wednesday, one of the two.
Oh, good.
But, I think it's tomorrow, actually. But
Yeah.
just sort of talk about what his visions are for
Yep.
the library in Chaska too.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, certainly anybody can reach out anytime they want to. Call me or send me email, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, but appreciate you having me.
Thank you,
Thanks for being
Matt.
here.
All right, thank you.
Matt.
Good to see you.
All right, nice seeing you. Have a good night.
You too.
Who's gonna,
Twice in one day, so
who's gonna
awesome.
update Gwen on the timeline? This was something she
Oh.
talked about often.
I know, this is slightly different,
Matt.
so,
Yeah.
which is good.
Serena, hi.
Hi.
You're gonna talk to us about the law library.
Yes,
Cool, well, welcome.
thanks. You might remember I was here in January talking about adult services, and I switched roles in June. So now I am law librarian and also collection development librarian. So I do collection development and maintenance for the adult collection. And then 3 days a week I'm over right next door at the law library. We're open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday for self-service, but then I'm there on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Sorry for not labeling my spreadsheet. So just an idea of the kind of things that I'm helping people with. Divorce, post-divorce, orders for protection, harassment, restraining orders, conciliation or small claims courts, anything that people need help with when they're representing themselves in court is what we're there to help with. Also legal research, and a lot of people are now using the Mindy system. If you don't know what that is, it's when you have a usually conciliation court, you're uploading your exhibits to a digital platform now. You're not taking in your stack of papers to court, you're taking them all and scanning them in, and it's all digital now. So people need a lot of help with that, and not only just accessing the system, but scanning. So that's what I've been doing for the last couple of months, learning on the go, since I don't have any law background. But I've been learning just from the judicial branch website. I've been reading all the help topics, which spells out a lot of things, but also getting help from the state library and also court admin upstairs. So
And Scott County Law Librarian
Yes,
has been a
yes.
great resource as well.
any questions?
So if you're here 3 times a week, but the library is open 5 days straight, if someone is at the library and no one's there, is there a phone that they can call, or how does that work?
I do have a cell phone. I was kind of hesitant to advertise that at first, just because I was still learning. But now that you say that, I can put that on the sign. Right now, it directs people to the state library if nobody's there. But yeah, they could call me. It's just I'm at the desk in Chanhassen
Right.
those days, so it's
So
kind of.
if they go to the state library, there's someone there that can help them, but it's just over the phone or online.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So these are members of our community who are facing different kinds of legal, litigation-related challenges. And am I correct in assuming that they're using this service, this facility, because of a financial disadvantage? Because, the obvious question would be, why aren't they consulting
An attorney.
with an attorney, retaining an attorney, or even going to a paralegal? So I'm presuming that most of them, if not really all of them, are using this service, this public good, because it's financially disadvantageous for them to pay for it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And for some things like divorce, it's pretty easy for anyone to do that without an attorney. I mean, I did it myself without an attorney, so stuff like that you can, save the money and do it yourself. There's still a filing fee, so,
Sure.
yeah.
So we're statutorily required to have a law library.
Okay.
We're not necessarily required to have a law librarian. But it's nice to actually have a part-time law librarian. And pretty much my first week on the job, I got to know my commissioners in Scott County. And the first thing she said is, when are you getting your own law librarian? Because ours is fielding all your questions and we're dying over here. I'm like, oh, I'll find that out. And then I show up at the law library meeting and we're hiring someone. I'm like, oh, wow, done. So
right,
thank
like-
you. Yeah, like I wish it were always that easy. So
Is a lot of the material digitized or is it still like you gotta look at books?
No, it's mostly online, yeah. Like if you're doing legal research.
So technically they don't need to come here to look it up or do they
Well,
need to log in here?
we pay a subscription for
When he
Westlaw.
stuck in, like when I was letting Sarah.
he just kept in and I was like, where'd Kevin go? I was,
I'm still waiting.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, so yeah.
Yes, so we pay a subscription fee to Westlaw. That's something that's not available to
Okay.
people unless they pay for it, so.
Okay, so that's where they can access it when they're here.
Yep,
Got it. Thank you.
And I have a question that's more logistics. You have a column for customer type inmate. I'm envisioning in my head that maybe they come in with their, well, they wouldn't come in with their attorney. Do they get walked over? And again, it's more just curious.
it would be through mail. if it was
Mail,
an
okay,
inmate,
got it.
yeah.
Got it, okay. Got it.
But that's the other requirement is the law library has to be in
Sure.
the same building as the courts.
Oh, interesting, okay.
So like we can never really move the law library
Right.
to Chaska or anywhere else. It has to be in this building. Or it has to be wherever the court is.
Right.
And so there's a separate law library board that oversees essentially and works with Serena, which consists of Commissioner Anderson and Judge Michael Wenzel, and then our county attorney.
Our assistant county
Oh,
attorney.
yes, thank you. Yes, sorry, thank you.
It's all
Yes,
good.
so-
Yeah,
Yep.
very, very different. But yes.
Yes.
So that the three of us are the little power trio. We only meet quarterly, so it's, yeah. And it has been nice to have Serena. And a lot of the issues are, people who are looking at eviction or and just need to understand what are the laws and what they can and cannot do, so.
Wills and estates as well. I saw
Yeah,
those
yeah,
numbers.
huge.
I think this is really valuable because I had no idea. So I'm like, wow, that's a lot. To me, that's a lot of people. I guess I should look. Yeah, this was like June to August, but 24 people coming in or reaching out. I feel like that's
And at some point, and I didn't want Serena to start, and then the next day, we start going, hey!
Oh, right. Yes.
But at some point, I mean, I think this is an underutilized service, and I think
Yeah.
more people would utilize this if they understood that it was available. And again, we wanted to give her some time to
Yeah.
settle in and learn her role, because that wasn't necessarily something, but I do see us, I don't know if it's advertising and marketing, but building awareness that this is a valuable service for people.
Well, I was thinking along the same lines because I'm looking at your metrics on the middle of the second page. And so PRO SE stands for Professional Service Providers.
It's pro se, that's legalese for self-represented litigants.
Okay, so those would be members of the public
Right.
as well.
People who
okay.
don't have, legal
Yeah.
representation.
Okay, so you show 126 on the far right.
That's just
side.
the total of all the methods, so by phone, email, and in person, that's the
Okay.
total.
But that number is going to be pretty correlated with the number of people seeking access
Correct.
to the law library's
Right.
resources.
Yeah.
Okay. So so that 126 is the sum of phone, in-person,
Email.
and email. Why don't you have 104 added to 126? Why is that a separate number from 126?
So I don't have the document in front of me, but it's collecting, one side is collecting the type of service they were looking for, and the other side is collecting if they were an attorney or a pro se And sometimes I don't know.
All right.
So I
person
just
could
don't-
create 4 different methods of contact.
Right.
So the left side is all the different methods of contact.
Right.
And it could be the same person for much of
Yeah,
that.
you may
Okay.
start with.
Well, yeah,
email,
that's why they're not added
and
together. It's,
Got it.
it's saying, you know, one person needed divorce help and they were pro se.
Okay.
Maybe another person needed this, and I don't know if they had an attorney, so then I just don't
Okay.
mark anything.
Okay, so, let's say that, that we assign, maybe this is unreasonable, but we assume that 50% of, the 104 consists of different people, different bodies coming in to use the service. And the same thing for the 126. I mean, it's for the 104. I mean, in theory, there would seem to be nothing wrong with adding the 104 to the 126 because that represents transactions, it's activities, different people. But what I'm getting at is if we go with the 50%, then it appears to me that during this period, somewhere between 100 and 150 people use the law library. Is that totally off track here?
I think
I would
so.
say that's-
So if you look over here under civil lawsuit, there were 4 phone calls and 1 email and then 5 proceed. I mean, these were by 5 different parties.
5 different parties,
So you
right?
cannot add these 2 together because they are
I
a
see.
subset of it.
As methods of inquiry
Right.
as opposed to number of people. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So I mean, but it seems somehow this 100 to 150 doesn't seem unreasonable. Does that feel right to you? I mean, I realize you haven't been on the job that long.
Right, yeah, it would be around the,
Okay.
it would be around, a little lower than 126 because some people come in multiple times.
Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, I think that speaks to the commissioner's concern about underutilization. I mean, that doesn't seem like very much demand.
It's not.
No,
And
Right.
compared to, I would say I shadowed at Scott County and I was there for 3 hours and she was never sat down. She was constantly busy, so.
Yeah.
which is why she struggled with ours.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
And there is a difference, they do have a higher volume of court cases than Carver does, but still it is
It seems
underutilized.
Yeah.
Very low.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly
Scott County had
the
higher
main
population.
repair person problem.
No, but they have.
But it's not far from it, you know.
Yeah, and I'll say my busiest day I've had 4 people,
Yeah, okay.
and
But-
that's,
Well,
But a lot of this is self-inflicted. I mean, the law library position's sat vacant for a year.
Right.
So, if, the word of mouth and all of that travels.
sure.
So at some point, again, once Serena's up to speed, I do think we need to do a better job of communicating this service
Messaging to the public.
and to the public.
Yeah,
And, yeah,
right.
and so,
Because we had a year of sending people to Scott County. 'Cause
Correct.
They would go down to
Right.
Chaska Library, and we're sorry, no, but here's your number to Scott County.
correct,
So, people have started been trained to go elsewhere.
right.
Right,
And
right.
and the State Law Library Board was aware of that. So you're right, we did. So that was a little bit of self-inflicted, and,
Yeah.
so we'll get back up, but yes,
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, your assignment is 0.6 FTE to the law library, is that correct?
I don't do math, but that sounds right.
about right.
Yeah, that's about right, yep.
Yeah,
Mhm,
okay.
mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, there's currently no call for 1.0 FTE
Correct.
in the law library, and I'm sure that at 0.6 FTE, you wouldn't feel overburdened if you had a little more traffic.
No,
Yeah.
and part of it, I will say, I do my collection responsibilities because I'm not as busy.
Sure, makes sense.
Because I only have so much time to do that then, so, yeah, it's kind of the mix of the responsibilities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Stop by anytime. Hopefully you aren't going to court, but just stop by and check it out.
Right. Don't commit
that
a
is
crime.
something to think about, Serena, is, what is it? I mean, what, why is Scott County used at a high rate? They do have a higher court case, and
They do, and I think part of
they
it-
have a few more judges.
I think part of it too is the location. So Scott County, the window for court admin is here and the law library is here.
Right.
And here they say, go downstairs to the law library. Well, by the time they walk over to the stairs, are they thinking, well, I could just do this at home?
Right.
They just-
Right. Sure. Because I'm guessing that even as a Carver County, oh my gosh, someone who lives in Carver County, I can't go, there's not a law library website where I can access the same items from my house, is there? Or do I have to access it from the live library itself?
So depending on what you're doing, like if you're getting court forms,
Mhm.
anyone can get that from any computer. So
Anywhere,
you don't
yeah.
have to necessarily go to the law library for that.
Sure.
And
But then if I was like,
obviously people aren't.
for
so-
sure, I was gonna say, but then if I was doing like a deep dive into how do I write my own will or something, it would probably be advantageous to be here
Yes.
versus
Right.
at home. Got it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anybody else have questions for Serena? Cool, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciated it.
It'll be interesting to see next year what the numbers are. But
Yes, it will. Well, it's kind of surprising because we are a litigation-happy country.
Yeah.
You would think there'd be a lot of call for free resources like
Right.
free resources.
Right?
Thank you. You're welcome.
Jody, do you know, I know that Lisa's gotta get going. Can we switch up 6 and 5?
That's fine.
Okay, so we'll go down to 6, new and unfinished, before we do our policy question.
Yay!
Hi.
Well, thank you. Hi.
Yes, of course.
Well, so what's going on in the Carver County Board? And this actually might dovetail a little bit. We've had a hiring freeze, and because of some of our budgetary issues, we did set our preliminary levy. And because of Serena's position switching and a couple other things, we are reducing the overall headcount for the library by 1.6?
1.65.
1.65.
Plus the savings from the restructure, when we
Yes.
restructured the law library position.
Yes. So hopefully what that means is, so that's the bad news. The good news is, hopefully what that means is we can start looking at hiring some of those vacant positions. And so that's a conversation that we're starting to have that. So that's the bright side of that piece of it. But, yeah.
This ties in with some narrative in Jody's report.
Yes.
She does allude to, the language you use, Jody, is reduction of vacant positions.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't sure what you meant by that. I mean, are we talking about retrenchment of those lines? Is that what it means? That is taking them off the books.
Right.
They're currently vacant, but just wiping them off the books
Mm-hmm.
and reducing permanently staff FTE.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Right, but they're vacant currently,
Right,
like
right.
it's not a layoff situation.
I understand.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just
yeah,
that
yeah.
they're being, that
Yes.
the lines are retrenched.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. But the big thing that I really did want to bring up is this conversation that we started with Matt and Administrator Podorowski is we do need to really start thinking long-term about our library plan and our current model of if the city builds it, and then we will fund it forevermore. And like I said, I think that's going to be a challenge for us budgetarily, because Carver County is planning to grow significantly more. So I do think we need to be thoughtful about our long-term library plan and how to staff that. And is there a different model that we can use kind of going forward? So that's really the challenge, and I think I would like at some point this board to have a conversation about what that may look like. And I don't know how you'd like to be involved in that at some point, but I'd love to get the brain power that you guys have on that issue that we're struggling
So when we
with.
met last time, I think that the conversation was that there was up to a potential of 5 empty vacancies.
Yes.
So does that mean that you are looking to fill 3.35
We're actually now at 6 vacancies.
So with this reduction, I'm just minusing 1.65 out of that.
But yes, there, we are looking, I mean, that's my understanding, and I asked that question
Right.
of Nick and Dave okay, now that the budget's set, does that mean that we can start opening up these positions and asking, and so, and looking at that?
So then my next question would be, with what Matt just shared with us about the direction of the size of the new library. You're going from 8,400 square foot to 36,000 square foot.
Right.
It's not sustainable. You have to grow your librarian base.
Yep, you're right, and that's a challenge. That's a challenge. So because if we were at 7, 8 more staff people, that's another $1 million. And so that would mean a 1% increase in levy. And so it's just something that we need to think. And if Carver had a library and, every community had a library, that multiplies.
Right.
So that's the Chaska library is a microcosm of what that could look like for our library system going forward. And so one of the things that Chaska has discussed, and actually it came from Kevin, is there's been some requests for community services to be part of the library. We have a family resource center. Could that be part of the library? Could we also include, I don't know, maybe on the second floor, a career resource center? Some of the other services that Carver County offers, can we piggyback some of those services with them? Because that would make it appealing to be closer to our population base. So how do we offer those services with library services, and what does that look like? I don't know. So that's a conversation we're starting to have. So that does make it advantageous for us to have the library in those population centers. I know when we went over to Watertown, because Bridget won a peer award, so I got to take along with Jody to go see that. So, I mean, they get a lot of foot traffic because of where they're located. So, so it's just something to think about. Is there's been conversations about a more regional approach, which makes a lot of sense as well. But that changes the feel of the library, and so we'd have to have that conversation as well.
Much different model than
It's a very different model.
what we've been accustomed to
Right.
looking at in terms of
Yeah.
this
But yet-
community has this library, even
Yeah.
though we're all one system, each community is very
Yeah.
unique. Yep.
Yeah, so while our current model isn't super sustainable, if it continues to grow, which is why I'm like, help, help us think of what are our options.
Well, that's the first question I wrote down. So you talked about this idea that the cities decide, we have the population, we have some money to do this, we're gonna build it, and Carver, the expectation is that Carver County pays the utilities, keeps the upkeep, whatever.
Forevermore.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's a little weird to me. I guess I
Until
need to
the
do
end
my
of dawn.
research on how libraries are built and funded and decided and whatever, but are other because in Minnesota, it's like, it's all county-based, right? You're in Scott County,
Yep.
you're in Hennepin County, you're in
Nope.
Dakota. It's not.
Nope.
Just in the metro.
Just in the,
Well, I was gonna say St.
Pioneer
Paul
Land
has its
Regional
own, and they have-
Library and,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting,
Say,
okay.
well,
state.
and both Margot and Kevin, not to put you on the spot, have worked in
Yeah,
other
yeah.
systems that have,
Interesting.
Well,
Send
even
others.
Ramsey County's
Yep.
not that system. They have Ramsey County and St. Paul.
And St. Paul has its own,
Yep.
It's just like Minneapolis used to be its own.
yeah. So it's something to, so looking at different models is something that we're looking at different service levels.
We
And
used to be Scott Carver, if I remember correctly, no?
Not that I
there
know.
were aspects that we,
That shared?
that
Yeah.
shared, like, while the law library at one point actually had, I think, a contract or an agreement that the two law libraries worked together somehow. It's been a while since
that would
model,
be
but-
nice, so yeah, it's something to think about. And then the other piece that adds to this is if it extended access in Victoria, depending upon how that goes, that changes. That changes. Now, I don't ever want to see a situation where we never have a staff in a library and it's just extended access. I don't think that's a model we want to go to, but what does that look like kind of going forward?
I just want to make one comment about extended access.
Yes.
That does increase accessibility for a certain number of people. It does not actually extend access to the entire population.
Correct.
So I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. A lot of our usage, especially, I'm assuming continues in Chaska, are people who are not library card holders. And particularly in Chaska, being
Yep.
close to all the government center and the DMV, I mean, there's a high percentage of people who are not card holders. And so extended access doesn't necessarily support that.
Right, and they do need to go through a special process and all of that.
Yeah, it's a privilege view, and I'm thinking like Chaska, I'm assuming the new Chaska will be built with that in mind.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And a lot of our morning traffic comes from the license center making copies, so that wouldn't help that situation at all.
No.
Because
They're
very
not.
few of those people are library
Right.
card
Right.
holders.
Well, and personally, I love that the library is so close to the license center because I count on it. I'm like, I'm gonna go check in, go to the library, hang out, wait for my number to come up.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a sign saying, while you wait your 2 hours,
Yes.
come over to the
Come on
library.
over.
Exactly, yeah.
So yes, I agree with you, and that's why I want this board to have a conversation about what does all that look like.
Yeah, if I can add one other piece about extended access too, just in talking with some of the other MELSA directors with other systems that have implemented multiple locations now, the traffic patterns they're seeing, certainly usage during extended access, but the highest usage, which would make sense based on what Kevin and Margot were saying too, is still during staffed hours when you look at those.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And obviously we can't have any programming when, so, but long story short though, I want to get ahead of this for Carver County, and I want us to be, to really kind of be on the cutting edge of how we staff our libraries, what they look like, and what all this is about. So that's my 2 cents on it.
I think it's a really good idea to start thinking about that because Carver's population is expected to, isn't it like double by
Oh,
2040? Is
Carver
that-
County or the whole,
The
or
city
just-
of Carver.
Yeah, well, and Victoria is in its infancy,
right.
and,
Those two
and they have
locations
a
are-
very tiny,
Right.
library.
Yeah.
And Cologne is growing. I mean, it's just, so we really really need to think about it. And in addition to our growth, this is just one aspect of the Carver County budget. You know,
Yeah.
mental health facilities are going to continue, you know, to grow. We're going to have to continue to fund that and continue to build roads and court services and sheriff's department. And so it's just something that we have to kind of think about. And I don't want, because the library is discretionary, I want us to make sure that we're thinking long-term.
Yeah. Who decides
about that.
discretionary?
Well, it's based upon, it's based upon what's mandated and what's not.
By whom? By the
By
state
the
of Minnesota?
state.
By the state
Okay.
and the federal
Statute.
government.
Got it.
Yeah, it's not us.
But
Got
one
it.
thing to note that, so we receive RLTA funding
Yeah.
to support technology, E-rate, those sorts of things. If we would ever, I'm just
Yeah.
making aware of the statute language, if you go below 20 hours in a branch, in any branch, we would no longer receive that RLTA funding.
And that's staffed hours.
No, open hours.
Open hours.
We can't be open
hours.
without staff.
Right, yeah. Okay, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Open hour, less than 20 open hours
Not
per week.
necessarily extended
Yeah.
access hours.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember, though, that there are a lot of things now that require computer access. And there are a lot of people who do not have
Right.
computer access.
Right.
I mean, I've worked with one young man, he needed computer access just to apply for a driver's license. And if you're looking for a job, you need computer access.
Yeah.
And
Which- yeah.
kids in our
And-
school system do
Right,
not have normal computer access.
Right,
right.
And the library becomes that source.
Yes, it does.
yeah.
But they also need the staff support because there's many
Right.
folks that don't have the skills or the knowledge how to navigate
Right.
Right.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
even,
Yeah.
I used to build computer chips. And I went to the library to get something printed out because my printer died. And I needed staff help to get it printed out. I mean,
So, and that's where kind of piggybacking with some of the other services like the career force, you know, they're statutorily required to have a library, or a computer lab as well. So thinking about that. So just a lot of conversations about staffing libraries, what does it look like going forward, and how can we best use those spaces and those individuals and those programming to serve our community.
So I'm reflecting a lot on your very early comment about the current model can be described as if the city built it and we will fund it.
I know that.
And I think that's a very, I think that's a very spot on description. And you asked, is there a different model that we can use going forward? So can you shed some light on what a different model might look like?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm sure Kevin could.
I mean, statutorily, the city and county share.
I don't even know if it's a statute.
We're under joint powers agreement.
I was just exactly
Yeah, okay,
thinking
yeah.
about the joint powers
Yeah.
agreement. So if it's a sharing arrangement and it's effectively statutorily imposed, then what are we talking about here? Changing the share proportions?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay.
The problem is how the model is unsustainable. So I have no idea what the solution is.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's a conversation obviously for another day.
Right.
Correct.
But
Correct.
the issue, I mean, it seems like the issue is twofold. One is what we talked about last month, which is that we have a problem with a very low willingness to pay. And we are the highest per capita income county
Yes.
in this state. And I recognize that there's a proportion of households that are not in a position to dollar up, if you will, to support our library system. But we have a very high proportion of people in this county that do have that ability. But we have the classic free riding problem, which is what you see with public goods and services. So the first problem is addressing the combination of undervaluation and very low willingness to pay. But
I
then-
don't know if there's a low willingness to pay,
Well-
but there's a lot of demands,
There's a
I
lot
would
of
say.
demand, but
Yes,
it's
that's the
cla-
problem,
Yeah.
It's the
yeah.
classic public service problem, a public agency problem, is that you have gross undervaluation because there's this problem of free riding. But there's an equity problem, and the thing is that if the county is sharing in the cost, then you have a lot of people outside of the area that are paying for a service they don't receive, so it's an equity problem.
It is.
And so we have to address that concurrently with the problem of filling the gap between what we need and what people are presently willing to pay. And that ties into the advocacy piece that I wrote to you about. That's
Yeah.
exactly where I'm
Yep.
headed with that. And
Yep.
I know that that's a huge challenge for us, but I think it's something we have to address.
Well, and one of the things when I talked to Matt briefly about this, Matt Podorowski, is he's like, does the city need to step in and help more with programming or fund that? I mean, I don't know. I recently read somewhere, and I come from a continuous improvement background. So the idea is once you really know what the problem is, you're halfway to solving it, right? So what I'm seeing as a brand new commissioner, what I see the problem is, and this may not be the problem, but is an unsustainable model
Yes.
for how we continue to fund our libraries. And I don't want to get to the point where we were this last time. It's like, let's just cut our libraries or cut staff in half. It's like, okay, wait, let's look at this kind of long term and see if there is another model and create another model. And I do want to be creative, and I think we can be. But I go back to, and the situation I'm in as a commissioner is, I sit on this as a liaison, and I sit on the mental health, as a liaison, and I sit on watershed districts, and I sit on all these other boards, and they all are really important. And so it's a matter of how do we make sure that we're serving the community the best way possible and giving people the most value for their taxpayer dollars. And that's where that's what I'm kind of looking at is,
I just want to mention, it worked in some places better than others, but Great River, it has 33 actually municipalities that work under, and they are a system completely different, not county, it's a completely self-sustained thing, but how they have their and I'm not saying it worked everywhere, it did not, but where I saw it working, I worked in 3 branches the time I was there, and where it really worked best, all of them, it was similar. The city built the buildings, but they also were responsible for cleaning, and they were also responsible for full cleaning, full maintenance, and they were also responsible for the furnishings and the shelving. And that was part of the agreement. So it wasn't just, and the library system was responsible for the staff, the books, media, for the
Collections,
thank you. And the technology, and they were entirely responsible for manning the technology. So they had their own IT department, and they did work with the city's IT departments, but it was very slickly run. I have to say, Elk River had a lot of skin in the game. So they had a member who was very interested in the library, so that made a huge difference, and therefore the community became very interested. There were resources put to that library because the city had so much skin in the game. And also, they did fund, we did have a funding, a line item in the budget for programming. It was small, that it was there. And not
Yeah.
every city had that.
I like that, and I like looking at the different models. I mean, truth be told, I think, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Jody, get all of you. I feel like our communities in which our libraries sit are passionate about our libraries. I do feel like they would step up and step in if needed, but right now that's not the model. And the facilities piece, I mean, that's a huge piece too. Every county building, I've learned, I mean, we have issues with our county buildings in this county.
Your facilities, awesome.
What?
Team is awesome to work with.
Oh, they are a great team. Don't get me wrong, but I said to Dave, I said, man, for the wealthiest county in the state of Minnesota, we have some terrible buildings. No offense. I'm just saying. So anyway, again, and again, this may not be the problem, but I'm just struggling as a new commissioner with how are we going to continue to fund our libraries as we grow and provide the level of service that I know that we desire.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And to your earlier point too, I mean, taking a much longer range look ahead seems like that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
but we
right.
haven't done that.
We're just like wait around for the next community. Go, oh, we need a library, and then we're like, oh no, how do we do that?
What do we do now? Right.
So I'd like to not personally do that. It's been an interesting year. So anyway, that's my little plea with this. I'm glad Mental Health Advisory Committee was canceled so that I could be here to make this plea to you. And I got to take my mom to the airport, so I'm off. But thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
for
much.
being
For
here.
that. Yes,
Very
glad I
much.
could be here, and we'll be in touch.
Yes.
All right.
Sounds good.
And I have to take all my paper and all of my bags. So carry
All of
on
your
without
things.
me. Yes.
Well, we're gonna bop back up to item 5.1, the policy review, the one I believe we put on hold last month.
Correct.
Because we
Phone,
kinda,
is it?
no, this one's mine.
No,
Thank
but I'll
you,
take
though.
it too.
Yeah, don't, God, please don't. We had a lot of, I think, questions about the policy. And I
So-
don't have last month's, but this seems to have more red in it.
Yes,
Than last
but
month's.
primarily there's two updated sections that
Okay.
our library leadership worked on together, and I guess there should have been a way to highlight that better.
That's okay.
The third paragraph after the asterisk, for purposes of this document, the term new library will refer to fully staffed branch or unstaffed express library. No branch library will be open without resources to staff it. So that was one potential recommended edit that we put in. And then the other one is under policy number 2 at the bottom of page 1. This request should be supported by data gathered from the community demonstrating a clear and sustained need for the branch. So those were, everything else, I believe, was in there last month. And there were 2 small edits, that's why I had to print a new copy today, that were in the previous version that we brought. So I just wanted to make sure we had all of the potential edits, so.
Well, and I appreciate the edits, and they were made in response to discussion we had last month.
Yes.
I read through the revision several times over the past few days, and I think it's generally looking good. There's a bunch of suggested wordsmithing and kind of minor suggested edits that I'd like to submit to you, but I do not wish to take up the board's time for those. I can just send those to you. One thing that would be helpful is if, and I don't have the capability to do this anymore because I canceled my Adobe subscription, but if it's possible to get a Word version of the policy document, then I can just, using track changes, just show you the suggested edits and stuff. There's a couple of areas where there's some ambiguity or vagueness about responsibilities and various kinds of issues. They're not major, but just to kind of tighten things up.
Sure.
But there are two fundamental concerns that I still have about the way that this policy is currently written. The first is that it does not, in my opinion, provide sufficient clarity as to what this board's role is in the policy that we're looking at here. So for example, in the second paragraph, it says that establishment of a new library requires approval of the County Board of Commissioners and City Council of the proposed location. Okay, then it goes on to say the library board will provide a recommendation and information related to what's inside the facility. And you know, we've talked about that a few times already today. But then later on, right under policy criteria for branch establishment, you know, the boldface, it says the following criteria will be considered by the library board to determine if it is appropriate to recommend establishing a new branch in any particular community within the county. So it seems there's a contradiction here between the second paragraph and that last statement, because on the one hand it's stated that our jurisdiction, if you will, for recommending is just in relation to what's inside. But then later on it says that we are tasked with recommending whether there should be a new facility, either a new one or expansion of an existing facility. So I guess this may just be pure confusion on my part, but it seems like those two pieces are in conflict. What exactly are we in a position to recommend, and how does our recommendation role precisely differ from that of the City Council and the County Board of Commissioners? That's just, it is not clear to me in the document.
I think it's saying that we're providing a recommendation, like what it says under policy, but then we are also providing the information related to furniture. The recommendation isn't about furniture, we're providing information about what's inside.
Okay,
And
so
then-
you're saying that when it says the library board will provide a recommendation, that's recommendation for the facility. Okay, and then the information relates to what's said. Okay, thank you, that helps. However, it's only after you talked about it that it makes sense. The way that it reads, it's just a little confusing. Maybe we could say, provide a recommendation about expansion of existing facility or creation of new facility.
Yeah, maybe it's not super important that we talk about that we will provide information on furniture and stuff. Maybe that's just like expected that the library board, you know, like that the library, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, because we talk about stuff
Yeah,
like that.
right.
And you
We
know,
wouldn't expect to go to the city to say, oh, and we don't know what about furniture. Like
Right.
Kevin would always be like, and this is what we like for furniture, and this is how other is that? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if
no,
I'm,
I do. I think I agree.
Maybe
And I
there's a
think
way
that
to-
language is in there because it's in the joint powers agreement.
Is it?
Oh.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
then, I don't know, perhaps the joint powers agreement referenced or something.
Well, I will say I talked to Nick about the joint powers because they're all across the board and outdated. And so in 2026, one of my goals is to start reviewing them with the cities. So whether that impacts the language here, but you could theoretically tighten this up too, or we could
Right.
revise it ahead of that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, yeah. And,
Yep.
and I think it also needs to be made crystal clear that there's two scenarios here that we're looking at. One is the creation of a new facility and expansion of existing. And my sense is, in kind of the period of fiscal austerity that we're in, that expansion may be more realistic than building something brand new, you know, on a plot of land. So-
It depends, because like for Chaska, it has to be a new.
Has to be, I get that, I
Right.
get that, but that may not be the case in other places.
But, well, here's an example, I mean, depending upon at some point, if and when Victoria, or I mean, it could be Waconia, I don't, but there could be definite expansion opportunities there,
Oh, I
or,
would think so.
either
Right,
or,
yeah.
so,
Right,
yep.
I would absolutely
Yep.
think so. So then, towards the bottom of page 1, where it talks about, local community support for the branch library must be indicated, yada, yada, yada. And the last sentence says, this request should be supported by data gathered from the community, demonstrating a clear and sustained need for the branch. I would like to have stronger language. I want us to talk about demand for the library service. I would recommend that we say this request should be supported by data gathered from the community, demonstrating an unfilled demand that can only be satisfied with a new branch or expansion of existing branch. I think it raises the bar a little bit more, but I think that's really what we want. I think that's what we want to say. That's a suggestion, and I'm happy to include that in the language. And then. Cutting to the chase here, item 5 on the second page, because other things that I've noted here, I'll just provide to you through track changes, is when the list of things that need to be discussed at the joint meeting, to discuss issues surrounding the proposal. I really would like to see another item, evidence of community demand. I don't see that in there, and that's kind of, I think, the missing piece here.
Mhm.
So just if we could add in evidence of community demand, I think that would be more comprehensive.
What would be evidence of community demand?
Well, that's the $64 question.
I'm like, wait a minute, what does that mean?
The city administrator, described one criterion they use, which is 1 square foot per body living in Chaska. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's super accurate or has okay, well, and you would know much better,
That's a
Margot.
wonderful way to do it. I wish we could all do that.
Right, yeah, it seems pie in the sky.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
wonderful.
I mean, I think,
Usually the cities hire an outside group and they do a study of the available services available to the city. And public service type things are part of that. And so they actually come up with some data to support it if they hire. Otherwise it would have to be like from the community through, signatures or something like that. That's,
Well,
And there have been
More of a-
libraries open based
Yeah.
on.
Grassroots.
Well,
Sure,
there's
yeah.
a way that we, and again, this is a discussion for another
Right.
day again, because
Yeah.
I know we have limited time, but there's metrics that already exist in the systems infrastructure, Jody. There's a huge amount of data that we can leverage to tell a story about market demand for library services. You can do surveys. You can do surveys of customers. I don't want to say customers, that's not right, but surveys of patrons as well as prospective patrons. But the point is that by making explicit that we need evidence of community demand, as we go through the process of reviewing the project and then ultimately recommending it, once it's presented to voters, and they know that we've covered our bases on community demand, I think we have a better chance of getting approval. And that's at the core where I'm coming from. Because there is skepticism always in the public about, do we need this? Why do we need this? What's the evidence? I've heard people say that so many times. And I think we're covering that by making it clear that we need that in there.
Wouldn't that fit more at, say, number 3 of the implementation process? Or 2?
Well, I saw 5 as the place to do it because it says to discuss issues surrounding the proposal. We're still in the proposal stage.
But
But ahead of that, it's
Yeah.
past the library board already.
Okay, Okay.
That's,
yeah.
that's why I'm suggesting, because it seems like it would come really early on before they even get to the point
Yeah, like
of
to-
looking at a spot, you know?
Yeah, like to, somewhere between 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine,
That's fair.
yeah.
So you're indicating that on action number 1, the city staff considering a new branch library shall alert the library director and county administrator prior to public discussion. The public discussion needs to output a clear demand for a new branch. So it's like in 2, yeah, in 2 and 3.
I think 2 and 3,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can, right. Okay. Then, like I said, the other pieces, I'll just, if I can get a Word version, I'll just shoot that to you. And you can take them or leave them. Just what I thought should be done.
Well, if you all, I mean, we can
I'm happy
we
to
can
serve.
take
Yeah.
your revisions and work those in and bring another draft back next
Oh,
month.
Yeah,
So,
and
yep.
I'm the last person to want to drag things out, and I'd be happy to copy all, everyone, the board, the other board members on that, so they can see commented language.
Okay, so maybe in October.
To be continued.
To be continued.
And I will send you over the Word version.
Thank you so much. I
Yes,
appreciate
yep,
Okay, let's go back.
thank you.
Sure.
Budget update, right into Jody.
Okay, so the first update regarding the current year's budget, we did take a request to the county board to shift $20,000 from our furniture and equipment line to our STOC, our stock budget, which is our sub pool. And they did approve that. So if you look at salaries, the short term on call, obviously that 20,000 has not hit the budget yet. It has not been moved over because we're at 89% of our spending, and that's due to vacancies and needing to keep our libraries open and utilizing a lot of subs. So
that 20,000 variance is gonna get moved over there from next page.
yes, I gotta flip the right direction.
Right now.
Hang on.
From the furniture, yeah.
20,000.40.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And we've been, Kevin helps oversee essentially helps oversee this part of the budget. So we've been working on some additional projections, like how many hours does that give for us through the remainder of the year. So we're gonna be talking, we have a management team meeting this Thursday. What day are we on? It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Thursday, yeah. And we'll talk through that some more.
So the new hiring is for next fiscal year, not for this current fiscal year? The hiring that you unfrozen right now?
Right, well, we don't know. I mean, we don't know how soon that we'll be able to, I mean, it could be, they'll say,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Or it could have to wait until 2026 after the final.
Because if it does start hiring, then you can at least not be so tight on your budget from a salary standpoint.
Right. The hope it will still be very tight, but it will get better a little
Right,
bit,
right.
a tiny bit. I'm looking at Margot and Kevin.
Yeah.
So. Otherwise, regarding this year's budget, I mean, we're doing fine. There really isn't a lot else that I can point to that we have red flags or concerns about at this point. We're doing fine. Happy to address any other questions or follow up on any questions that you might have. But then really, I mean, the bulk of the budget concerns and work really point to 2026 with the 1.65, as we already noted, FTEs that are being proposed to be reduced. I'm gonna be talking with management on Thursday whether, because if you look into the actual proposal, but a county proposal budget, you will see it points to a 1.0 librarian and a 0.65 library assistant. We may have an opportunity to go back and say, we would propose that we reduce these positions or reorg to try to figure out what makes best sense for the system as a whole. So we're gonna be working, we are already started working through some different scenarios to make sure, because the 1.65, although it's not indicated as the western branches, but it clearly points to 2 positions there, and the western branches are down the furthest, the most. So we would just wanna make sure that if we have an opportunity, which I think we will, to be able to take back a proposal and say, no, we need to do this instead.
Okay.
So the total, yeah, I can break it down further. I mean, the total reduction amount they're looking for is almost 223,000 out of the FTE budget.
And that was based on the salaries of the people, the exiting salaries of the people who created those vacancies, going on to bigger and better things.
Are we losing them to other library systems within?
We're losing them to
Minnesota?
full-time employment
To-
because
within Minnesota?
0.65 was not enough for 2 of our staff to cover daycare costs.
Right.
One to Serena, so she went to bigger and better things, and one retired. And then yours.
And we got 2 half-time people who found better paying jobs. Not necessarily in the library, but they were just half-time positions.
It's very hard to keep half-time
Yeah.
employed.
Yeah, absolutely.
0.5 is very, very hard to sustain.
It's been very much a revolving door, as we have said, which is really unfortunate. And then that, takes a lot of resources in terms of training and onboarding as well, when we are able to hire those positions, and then to just turn around and, there's
It's
just.
not like all those books stop when you get a new person,
Right.
Yeah.
which is good. But
So the other part of the budget that was, the county budget that is proposed for actual increases for us, or for what I would consider annual requests, right now, the Hoopla streaming service, which we'd mentioned, I think, a couple of months ago, we talked a little bit about that, is in the budget for potential approval to move forward. A digital materials increase. And I didn't have the numbers, so I didn't include those here. But the Hoopla, we project at 35,000. The digital increase is 17,000. We know our digital material usage is hugely popular and continues to grow. Then there's obviously, well, not obviously, but conference and training budget that's approved each year on an annual basis. And then the equipment and furniture, 20,000, has been an annual kind of capital improvement type of budget item for us, so that we can continue to refresh our spaces. But obviously we made the decision this year to put it towards staffing, keeping our libraries open. So that is currently what's in the full county's proposal that was passed preliminarily last week.
Why is it preliminary? Does it need to go to another stage?
Yeah, it won't, they'll have some additional work sessions, I believe, and then there'll be a public hearing session later in November, and then it won't go to final approval until December 2nd. So they set the preliminary levy, they can't go above that, but they could go down further from that. Yep.
How much was the increase in the new levy?
Is it at 8%? Yep. So it's like 6% plus 2%. Yeah, so they're looking at 8% right now. Some of the other counties are
Double digits?
higher. What's that?
I think some are double digits.
Yep, and that's I know our county board was trying to avoid double digits, but the next couple of years could get a lot worse than where we're at this year, I
Because it's
think.
compounding, right? The county has a component and then the school districts have their components into the property tax model.
What you see in your tax bill
Right.
is county, the school, and the city,
Right.
or the township.
So every one of them, if they have their own percentages, it does add to them all, to the overall.
And the other thing, you gotta watch out. The total levy may go up, but if the population went up, the taxes can actually go down.
Yeah, because it spreads it out. Right, right.
So Carver is a
So we
fast-growing
should be moving
county.
over there, so the tax will go down.
Well, Carver is a fast-growing county,
Right,
so you gotta watch what they're telling you.
and also I
When you
think.
drive by and you see all those new houses being built.
Right.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yeah, we gotta wait the whole year.
Yeah, when I first moved here, the big deal was that Chaska had a lot more industry and
Right.
it helps
Yep.
fray the cost to the residents.
Industry definitely impacts it.
But certain industries don't really hire a lot of people, like the big data centers off Angler, the two, and they're
Oh,
building a
right.
third one. Those are massive buildings, only needing like maybe 2 or 3 people in the building, because everything is fully automated.
Mm-hmm.
And they consume a lot of electricity, like a lot of power.
And a lot of water.
However, and Chaska supplies the electricity,
Right,
and that's a big reason Chaska
Big
has the
revenue
lowest
there.
taxes.
yeah. It's a big revenue there. Usually they have 2 lines, they come in from both different lines on both sides, so that if there's a disruption, you're not dependent on one provider.
So those are the budget updates I have at this point.
So I wanted to ask, I mean, last month, given the information we had, we were potentially looking at 5 post reductions of vacant positions. I mean, that was not outside of the realm of possibility. Are you relieved with the 1.6, that it's 1.6 and not 3 or 4 or 5?
Well, on one hand, yes, it could be a lot worse. I don't think that everybody feels relieved about it
At
though.
least you know what to do
Yeah.
and what to plan, because
Yes, you
up
do.
until then, you were
Yes.
like in limbo.
At least we know.
It's worth you, I would love for you to visit and talk with the staff at some point when it
Yes.
cools down, because they're the ones who are feeling it the
Oh,
most.
yes.
They're the ones who are
Yep.
concerned about covering and who are stressed out and whatever. So, but to your point, I know that's what everybody wants, is let's just know what we're dealing with so we can move forward. And so it might be this 1.65, but there are other things that are still out there and unknown that people are just like, okay, can we just, whatever it is, just let us know.
Just
you
tell
know?
us,
So, but it really is, and that's the thing I would say to anybody that's working at this level or the county, is that you really don't know. Data is data, and that's super helpful, but until it's not just pictures of kids, it's, when you see those people on the computers that need your help and that kind of thing, when you're really there and see it, and when you're there, you probably walk through and pay attention, and I think that's really vital and important, and it just keeps us on track. But yes, sorry, I digress as usual.
Well, I would say, thank you for saying that, Margot. I would say, the morale is really down right now with staff. It's really hard. So again, the more answers we have, good or bad, at least we know, we can plan and we can communicate then to staff, because that's been part of it too. There's just, till we know, we haven't been able to communicate, so, yeah. Yep.
But they know it's coming.
Yeah.
They know the discussions are happening.
Yeah.
They've listened to the board.
Yeah.
Some of them are avid followers of the county commissioner. What
Well,
they're
these
doing.
are librarians, and
Yes.
library staff that do,
Yeah,
they know their,
library
Not yet.
they research,
They do,
so.
and they're smart.
One other piece from my board report. We did launch Victoria Extended Access last week on Tuesday.
Right.
a huge thank you to a lot of team members to make that happen. It wasn't as easy on the technology side, and had some shipping and supply issues along the way, which I won't go into all the details, but it's up, it's running.
How many people registered for it?
So I think we're at about 100, and about 50 have done the orientation now.
Okay.
I just looked at, because I have access to the people counter. Now I can't remember how many have come in. I've been in a couple times just to try it out, but I mean, it's a really exciting accomplishment. But to the point earlier, and I won't belabor, but you know, this was meant to be an added service, not to take away from our regular staffed hours. And I think staff, that's an uncertainty there too, because we are going to start exploring, could we do extended access in other branches?
Right.
Which again, as an added service, I think is a wonderful thing for certain folks in our communities, but we don't want to take away from the patrons or community members that aren't going to be able to access that, and obviously we don't want to take away from our staff either. So, but that being set aside, if all these other things weren't swirling, I'd say it's a really exciting thing for our library system. So definitely, and pretty incredible. Yeah, if you haven't signed up, you can go and do that and experience it, and yeah.
I didn't make the connection that extended access at the library might sort of loosely correlate to like AI. Just in the spirit of, I don't need a human here to do this thing. I didn't make that sort of very loose correlation prior to what you just said. Prior to what you just said. So that, and I have strong feelings about AI. So, okay, thank you very, very much.
So, yeah, feel welcome to, if you want to sign up with your library card and experience it, please do so. Yeah.
If I go back to school, I will do that.
That would be great, actually, for starting.
Yeah,
writing.
I can see that. Yeah.
Writing that master's
Yeah.
paper, wow, yeah. Back then it would be great.
It's pretty cool to walk in there and we all walk into a quiet library space anyway, but so I'm like, but I think it's, yeah, it's good. Any questions, other questions? That's what I have. I should let you keep going, Stacy, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I
I'm
think,
just kind of rolling along.
No, it's, now we are at our trustee and commissioners reports. So Wendy, Wendy's not here.
And Patrick's not here. I
Patrick's
see
not
Sarah's
here.
picture
Yep.
being highlighted in here.
Yeah, I see Patrick's picture, and I like the t-shirt.
Yeah, isn't it?
You should make one for Chaska or Carver.
Well, I think I digress, but our library foundation could do some kind of fundraising advocacy effort.
Yeah, that's fundraiser, like Carver Library where the Avengers begin, that'd be nice too, and then you can have all your programs behind.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna just highlight three things. First, the headline was we had a garden party celebrating our community garden, and we had representation from the library board, and the mayor was there, and just a great year for growing. Over 100 pounds of various produce has been given away from that. Patrick really highlighted the teen volunteers. We had one amazing teen volunteer named Dulce who this summer we had a contractor not show up, and she jumped in and did an art class just ad hoc. Just pulled it out of her pocket, and for an hour the kids who showed up made art with her. So we were so thankful and amazed for what she was able to do for us. And we collaborated with the Downtown Business Alliance in Chaska for what they're calling Books, Beats, and Treats on the plaza. And so we have a story time about an hour before we close it, that they have time to actually stop into the library, and then they've had a little DJ out on the plaza, and they've given away treats and stuff. So the idea is to pull people downtown to support the businesses in the area. So there's more, but those are the 3 I'll have.
I'm sorry, I have to look again. I just want to highlight our summer reading program, that despite the fact that our youth services librarian was out due to personal family things for most of the summer, and she's such a magnet for people, we still managed to up our circulation. So circulation in the West was up 21%, even though our numbers for summer reading program were slightly down as a 3-branch part of the system. However, we did see an increase in teens in 2 of our branches, and I thought that was pretty cool. in the system. We had one teen up in Norwood, I think, or was it Watertown? But so it was actually we were busy, we had a lot going on, and again, I want to shout out, and I did a little shout out on the back to our circulation team, and those are all the people who do the checking in and the moving of the books and the shelvers. Because of that it's already hard to get through summer, you're worn out by the end of it. But to have circulation up, I was like, no wonder you're so tired. And they're like, oh my gosh, yes. So it's great. It's great. So kids are reading. And I'm particularly fond, by the way, of this picture of this boy sitting here reading. There was a large public television event with lots of little kids running around and screaming. And this kid is just like back in a chair in the children's area reading a book. I mean, he was into it. Anyway, so it was good.
There's a few news articles. Jody was on a podcast.
Yes, an hour-long podcast, so if you.
That's pretty cool.
No, a lot of great media coverage, so definitely a lot of great local partners that reach out.
Patrick. Does anyone have any other additional questions or comments for the September Library Advisory Board meeting? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You want one?
No, I would love, yes, we're good. We're good, we're done.
Because they stop asking.
Well, if I'm asking too much, let me know, but as far as I know,